So this is a question, and that you weren't going to be, but you are the first guest on the show that actually has a presence in the content creation scene. Like, you are one of the few people at Riot, and in the game dev world in general, who makes YouTube videos. They stream, they produce content.
Yep.
As many there aren't many people in this position. So what have you learned from like that rare experience?
Oh God, what have I learned? Lots of things.
Okay,
It's
okay.
really
We'll
hard.
we'll start small and then we'll work up. What inspired you to start?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I'd worked at Nintendo for 11 years, been super, super busy, got the job at Riot. And the first like 6 months, I wasn't that busy. You know, you're a new person on the team, you're not having a ton of work. And so I had some extra time. And so I was like, I'm going to try making some YouTube content and streaming content. And I did that for a while. I think the most views I ever had was like 20. And my YouTube channel had like 200 subscribers. It was called First 30 of Game Design, where I play the first 30 minutes of a game, stop, and then be like, all right, would I play any more of this? I just would
Oh,
like
okay.
critique games based on that. Very, very narrow, very niche, but it was kind of fun. Fast forward, then I started getting busy at Riot, lost interest in that. And then TFT got big, and I'd been doing the Twitter thing for a while, just as like a contact. Um, but a lot of people were asking questions, and it was actually my wife who was like, I bet they'd like to see you like stream the game and talk about the game. You should pick that up again. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. And so I booted that back up, and it started doing pretty well. And it was like people enjoyed it, so I kept doing it. And then, like, interestingly enough, I wasn't going to do any YouTube stuff either. Like, I'm just like, again, just here for people. But a lot of people were like, "Hey, I can't watch your stream, but I really want to see stuff. Can you post it on YouTube?" And I'm like, "All right, sure, no problem." And so I started picking that up, and just yeah, I just kind of kept going, and it also allowed me to learn about the streaming ecosystem that I didn't really understand. Where it's like, how are people making a living off of this? What the hell? So it's kind of allowed me to learn about that as well. So
Yeah. Streaming
cool.
and YouTube videos it's such a different place than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And even 5 years ago, it constantly evolves. So like taking the time and the effort to really just sink your teeth into that sphere is very
Yeah.
commendable. It's
The
I'm sure you know, but it's incredibly hard to like just sit down and be like, hey, I want to stream for you stream for a long time too. You do some long streams sometimes.
I've done a 24-hour stream. I did it on a challenge.
Okay.
That was intense. But yeah, the other aspect too was like, again, I always go back to when I was a kid growing up and playing games. What would I want to? I would love to talk to a developer and be like, "Yo, why'd you do this in Smash Brothers?" Or I'd love to hear your thoughts. And so now that I'm here, I figure like again, treat other people the way you'd want to be treated. Like, cool. So that was the other big
Yeah.
thing for me.
So I'm sure it's a struggle to have that level of communication at all times with people coming into your game, especially when times are unbalanced in the TFT community. What
Yep.
are some of the things you've learned from dealing with all of this communication that you do on your stream and on Twitter?
There's so many. I think one thing is just learning to take it all with a grain of salt. People are emotional, people are passionate, and they're going to say things they don't mean. They're going to say things without thinking it through. And if you take it at face value, you'll go mad. But instead, just kind of absorb it all. Oftentimes, I've had a lot of people like rage at me, and I'll simply reply like, "Cool. Can you tell me why you feel that way?" And as they start to like explain themselves, you can see their temper cooling down and feeling like, okay, cool. And then by the end, they're like, hey, thanks for even just hearing me out. And it's like, hey, no problem. Um, yeah. The other one is like, and this one's hard, is just like, you can't take things personally. All you can do is be like, how can I make it better? There are definitely days that can be kind of rough. We've had some rough balance patches sometimes, and players are definitely like, "What the hell? This guy should be fired." Those days suck, but um, you try to just take it with a grain of salt and move on. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I imagine that level of accessibility is something that people do abuse, but I'm sure it's very rewarding sometimes, especially when you have people coming into your stream. And I do frequent your stream sometimes when I'll see people being like, "Hey, this is the most fun I've had in this game in a long time. Thanks for all that you do."
That's the thing that's really hard, but I've gotten better at it, and you have to keep it in mind. Is like I would say honestly the positive to negative ratio is probably somewhere in the like 95 to 5%. Like it's mostly positive. It's mostly people who are just like, "Holy crap, I love this game. I love that you're here. I love everything that's going on. It's great." And human nature, the flaw is to ignore all that and focus on the 5%. I
Hmm.
always tell the story of the worst one I got, which was a Twitter account named Kill Mort's Kids that was messaging me. And it's just like, all right, cool.
Okay.
But again, you just have to
Jesus.
push those aside and just be like, look at this millions of people who are having fun. Let's focus on that. One of the things that took me a while, but I finally started doing it was I actually started like blocking people. It's just like, okay, you're clearly angry. You're clearly not here to have a nice construct. I think I've only blocked like 20 people out of my 60,000 followers. So like,
Hmm.
again, like it's not that bad.
Yeah. And I think
I
that
found
that's
out what
something
the
that. Sorry, go ahead, Larry.
I was like, I found out what the mute button did about 6 months ago. Mute button for
On
life
on League or on Twitter?
on no on Twitter. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the mute button because it's like a soft block where they don't
Yeah.
really know that you
Yeah.
muted them. So it's something that
Yeah.
you can use
Because I'm
and
like,
not
I
get as
was
much
I was
retaliation.
I was very much in the same camp as Mort here. It's like, well, I don't want to just block people, right? Because I hold the idea of like, well, they're allowed their opinion, I whatever. And my professional Twitter is for that specifically, right? Is to
Mhm.
field those and be open in that sense. But I'm like, yeah, they're allowed to have their opinion. Doesn't mean I have to listen to it though. So mute. I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.